Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you are in a great condition. Okay, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dava Nabila Kartika. I'm from Bandung Institute of Technology, School of Business and Management, and my lecturer is Bapak Dr. Erman Sumirat. Before I start my presentation, let me ask you about something. Have you ever seen these products before? Maybe somewhere? Yes? Okay, what about these products? Are you familiar with it? I bet you ever seen this in supermarket or maybe cosmetics places, right? But do you know which company who produces those products? No? Okay. In this video, I'm gonna present you the company who produces these products and their financial performance. Okay, let me start. So, this is the company who produces products I've shown you before. The company's name is PT Mandom Indonesia Tbk. The company was established in 1969 as a joint venture between Mandom Corporation, Japan, and PT The City Factory. The company's commercial production was started in 1971, and the initial product is hair care products, which are then developed by producing fragrances, cosmetics, toiletries, and others. Like I mentioned you before, this is the company's products. The company's top brands are Gatsby, Pixie, and Pushell. But besides that, the company also produces other products under the brands like Johnny Andrean, Ormando, and others. The company operates in the manufactures of cosmetics, fragrances, household health supplies, toiletries, and engage in the plastic packaging industry. Beside the domestic market, the company also exports its product to several countries. This is the company shareholdings information. PT Mandop Indonesia has 62.9% of the shareholding, and PT Asia Jaya Parmita has 25.7%, and the last one is public shareholders has 11.2%. Okay, let's move on to the financial report analysis. This is the financial overview of PT Mandop Indonesia in second quarter in 2016 until 2021. There are several information that I got from financial report of PT Mandop Indonesia. There are total asset, net sales, cash, and others. And from this information, we can calculate the ratios to analyze the financial report. There are four ratios analysis. The first one is profitability ratio to measure the company's ability in making profit. The second one is liquidity ratio to measure company's ability to meet its short-term obligations. The third one is activity ratio to measure a company's ability in utilizing its assets. And the last one is solvability ratio to measure company's ability in fulfilling all its obligations. So, this is the results of the calculation of those ratios. There are gross profit margin, current ratio, receivable turnover, and others. And then, from this calculation and these results, we can illustrate it in the chart to see the change within the year, every year. The first one is profitability ratio. In the profitability ratio, there are two ratios which calculated. The first one is gross profit margin, and the second one is net profit margin. Gross profit margin describes the company's ability to obtaining gross profit for every sales. The higher its ratio, the better it is. In the graph, we can see that the gross profit margin of the company decreases every year. The ratio can decrease because the company's gross profit keeps decreasing even though the net sales have a slight increase. This could happen due to the cost that contributed to the sale activity is big, so that the ratio will always decrease if the cost that affects gross profit constantly increases, while the net sales don't have a significant shift. And then the second one is net profit margin. This ratio is used to see the net income that the company obtains from every sale. In 2020, the companies experienced a loss due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the products didn't have good sales. As illustrated in the graph, from 2019 to 2020, the net profit margin dropped a lot, even got negative value. This has happened because the net income experienced loss. However, in 2021, the company started to rise by increasing its net income even though it's still negative value. The second one is liquidity ratio. There are three ratios which calculated. The first one is current ratio, the second one quick ratio, and the third one is cash ratio. Current ratio describes the company's ability to fulfill short-term obligation or current liabilities through current assets. That the company has very good liquidity, as we can see in the graph. Throughout the year from 2016 until 2020, the value is consistently above 200%, especially from 2019 to 2020. The liquidity grows significantly, which implies the company's current assets are much bigger than the current liabilities. The second one is quick ratio. Quick ratio describes the company's ability to pay all short-term liabilities through liquid assets. From the graphic, it can be seen that the quick ratio in the last 5 years has a fluctuating value. The quick ratio standard used by most companies in common is 100%. And as shown in the graph, the quick ratio of PT Mandum Indonesia still has value above the standard. This means that the company affords to pay all short-term liabilities or debt using its liquid or current assets. And the last one is cash ratio. This ratio describing the adequacy of cash or cash equivalent to pay current liabilities at a certain moment or due date. Although the company was affected by the pandemic, which causes a loss and decrease in sales, PT Mandum Indonesia still has good liquidity. From this ratio before, we can conclude that the liquidity of the company is good. The loss that the company experienced doesn't cause the company to have trouble in liquidity and liabilities payment. Next ratio is solvability ratio. In solvability ratio, there are three ratios calculated. The first one is debt ratio, the second one is debt to equity ratio, and the third one is long-term debt to equity ratio. Let's see debt ratio. Debt ratio is to see the percentage of debt in the company for assets or investment financing. From the graphic, we can see that the company's debt ratio doesn't shift significantly over time. PT Mandum Indonesia, from its financial report, shows a stable enough liabilities and assets ratio. It can be concluded that the company's assets can still afford its debt. The next ratio is activity ratio. There are receivable turnover and asset turnover. In receivable turnover, describing the efficiency level of investment in account receivable to increase sales. As shown in the graphic, the receivable turnover in 2021 from 2020, and this happens due of there is a decrease in net sales and an increase in account receivable. The second one is asset turnover. This ratio measures how many times the fund that implemented in assets. As shown in the graph, the asset turnover value decreases over time, especially from 2019 to 2021. Okay, from the financial report, let's move on to the management accounting, which is cost accounting. The first one is direct costs. We can see from the picture some costs directly contributed to the production process. You can see in the yellow box, such as raw materials and packaging materials used, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. As mentioned before, the company's net income decreased, which also got affected by decreasing in the cost of goods sales due to pandemic that affected the selling process. Total direct costs in 2020 decreased to 2021 from 622 billion rupiahs to 617 billion rupiahs. The second one is indirect costs. Indirect costs are costs used by multiple activities and which cannot be assigned to specific cost objects. In the financial report of PT Mandum Indonesia, we can see the indirect costs at the operating expenses. You can see there are two, sales expense or selling expense and general and administration expense. Total indirect costs from 2020 to 2021 decreased significantly from 300 billion rupiahs to 199 billion rupiahs, which is a very high decrease. Next is variable cost. From the financial report, the variable cost that contributed in the company manufacturing is on the tables, and we can calculate the total variable cost in financial report, which is the total of operating expenses plus suppliers plus raw material use. And the total variable cost from 2020 to 2021 is decreased, but not as big as indirect cost before. And the last one is fixed costs. In the tables, we can see some fixed costs which contributed in the manufacturing process of the company. The total fixed cost in financial report, we can calculate it is from 2021. The total fixed cost is 231 trillion rupiah. And in 2020, the total fixed cost is 243 trillion rupiah, which is also decreased, but not as big as indirect cost. And from the calculation, we can conclude that PT Mandum Indonesia has bigger value of variable cost than the fixed cost. This means good for the company to achieve a break-even point faster, or profit zero, profit is zero faster. And the total cost is total variable cost plus total fixed cost. And we can see the total cost for 2020 is 1.5 trillion, and the total cost in 2020 is 1.3 trillion, which also decreased. And from the explanation in the previous chapters, we can conclude some conclusions. The first one is PT Mandum Indonesia experienced loss in 2020 and 2021, especially in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Conclusion number 2 is PT Mandum Indonesia still has a good liquidity to cover its current liabilities even though experienced loss and a decrease in sales. And the last one, conclusion, is PT Mandum Indonesia has more variable costs than its fixed costs, which means the company can achieve break-even point or turnover faster and obtain more profit faster. My suggestion for PT Mandum Indonesia, PT Mandum Indonesia can create and produce more innovative products that not only suit the company's value, but also the market needs. And furthermore, the company can increase its sales and revenue and also net profit in 2022 with the innovative products. Okay, so that's all of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.